Are we live? Yes, we're live. We're live. And my goodness, we nearly didn't make it there, Shoaib, and it wasn't Shoaib's fault. It was my fault. I was on another call till 2 minutes to 10, and I realised that that I hadn't sent Shoaib a link. So that's why I'm in a little bit of a rushed situation here. So just bear with me, guys. I'm just building up my mic stand and everything. So yeah, Shoaib, you're very welcome. It's been a while since you're on, mate.
Yes.
First of all, how's it been? Just so you know, there's a very good friend of mine, and I hope he doesn't mind me saying this. He's a Jewish friend of mine, and he got you. How good is the lawyer? I don't know if we can say her name, but how good is your lawyer?
Oh, she was very good. The case got thrown out. Obviously, I got another case that got messed up because of the lawyer that I got initially.
She's helping with that. She's helping with the new case as well. Yeah.
No, not yet, because we are waiting to see what happens. But they have said that there's a possibility that they are going to charge me, and if it goes to charge, obviously, then it goes to court. And when it goes to court, that's when I switch. But I'm hoping it doesn't go to that. But I feel like, unfortunately, it does feel like it's going to go to court. They are going to take me to court. Like I said, let's see it. And it's a crazy, crazy charge. I'm sure you know. I'm sure a lot of other people know. For the people who doesn't know, it's a charge against. So you know how a lot of people say they don't think there is Islamophobia in the UK, or we don't think so. There's any Islamophobia. Let me tell those people there is Islamophobia, and the charge that I am going to be going to court for. I hope not, but if I do go to court for that, it will be being racist towards the Muslim community, towards basically my own community. And it's absolutely it's crazy. So yeah,
I mean, you couldn't make. It's like we're living in this weird parallel universe. Like, so, guys, think about this, right? Everyone that's in the chat, just think about this. Like, I'm not a policeman. Thank goodness. I'm not a judge, right? Now, I guess that most judges are meant to be quite intelligent and understand the people that are standing before them. Now, Shoaib, no disrespect, mate, but I'd be pretty sure if I was a judge and you came before me, I'd be pretty sure that I knew you were Pakistani Muslim.
Yeah,
I can't. This, the name and just the characteristics. So, like, how can this even be discussed about going to court? How can a Pakistani Muslim be racist against let's call what Bangladeshis are East Pakistani Muslims, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because like it's the same country. It's the same country, just got split because of a civil war. So how can you be racist against people that are exactly the same as you and have the same belief system? Somebody explain that to me. Somebody just try and explain that to me, right?
It's absolutely crazy, man. You know what? It's like I said. It's such a like you just say, you cannot believe that what's going on. Only, like I said, it's very easy for them to say, if they look at someone and they said, oh, because you're white, you have to be a racist. They got all these names, these weird names which is fake, and they said, oh, this person is Islam. They got this fake term. I don't believe in Islamophobia, first of all. But they love to use it. They love to use this word, Islamophobia, because he's white, he's not a Muslim. And then they call people like you are white, they call you guys the white racist, fascist, Nazi, and all these things. We've heard it all. But then when they see people like me, they honestly don't know what to do. And honestly, like you just said, I never believed in a million years that they will take a guy like me and they will say, oh, you know what? It's this guy. It's he can never. I never thought that anybody will call me a racist when I'm saying something against my own community, and they have actually. And for them to actually lock me up for 15 hours in a cell where I've been living in the UK for the last 10 years, and with the 10 years, what has happened? I've never had any speeding ticket. I've lived by the law. Like, if they say it's 20 miles per hour on the road, even though I don't agree with it, I follow it, because this is the country that I live in. If the government is telling me that, oh, you have to follow 20 miles per hour, obviously I will. And I think that is exactly what it was. My whole time in the UK, like I said, for 10 years, I've been in the country. That was how my life was, and it was a very happy, very decent, and it was the type of life that I loved it. I still love being in the UK, and I say to everybody, with everything that has happened to me and that is that I am going through. I'm sure you know that I don't have a job. I lost my job, basically. I don't want to say I don't have a job. I practically lost my job. And you know what, Richard, I remember we spoke about this last time when I recently lost my job and I went on your channel, Paul Thorpe's channel. But I think now that it's been almost coming up to 6-7 months, right?
Yeah.
I think now I reflect on it, that I sit in the house and I think about what has happened, what was going on. The only thing that I see, the only thing that I see now, it's when I was in the Swansea Council,
Yeah.
I took that job to help the people of Swansea. And there is one thing that I don't think a lot of people know, but I think I probably will tell them today. I just feel like I probably would say it, but there is something that there's a reason why I went to Swansea Council, because I wanted to help the people. And as I said, there's a big reason behind me saying, "Oh, I want to help the people." Like I said, I'm no messiah. I'm not like, "Oh, I just come from the top." I'm like everybody else.
Yeah.
Obviously, my moral values are very different to others. I do hold myself like my standards are very, very high, and I hold myself to those standards.
Yeah.
Nobody tells me, nobody asks me to it, but I do ask myself every single night before going to bed. And anyway, so when I was in the Swansea Council, the day came when I was getting fired for basically saying that white people are not racist. And you won't believe it, the people who were firing me and telling me, "Why is it that you said that white people are not racist?" They were two white women, white, woke, liberal women. And they were like, "Oh, how dare you say white people are not racist?" And I'm like, "You are white, you're telling me you're racist." They're like, "No, we are not racist, but the people you're talking about, they are racist." I said, "But they're not." I've been, I've spoken to these guys. I've met with them, and these are the only people who will actually, it was people like you, Richard, you, Paul Thorpe, you guys are non-stop messaging me, "Hey, is everything okay? Do you need help?" Nobody asked you to do that. You don't owe me anything, and I don't owe you anything either.
And again, we never boasted about it. I mean, Paul. This is the thing why I get so annoyed with Paul getting attacked by people. He's helped so many people out, and he's got such a big heart for looking after people. And the grief that he's got, and I tell you the other one as well. Do you know the other one that I think is a case that we really need to keep our eyes on? And she's not quite, and understandably because of what she's going through, she's not quite as open as you are. But Lubna. You know that girl Lubna, who's Pakistani,
of course I know her.
Born in Luton, brought up in Luton, very anglicised, very intelligent, very articulate like yourself. I mean, and this is the crazy thing, right? And I don't mean this in a patronising way whatsoever. I mean it genuinely, sincerely. Shoaib, you're the type of Muslim we want in this country, right? Like if every Muslim, instead of putting his pajamas on every day and his little white hat and growing his beard down to his knees and shaving his top lip, actually said, "You know what? I'm here in Britain. I'm going to embrace the culture. I'm going to, love this country, try and build this country, and love the people of this country," which is pretty much what you're doing, right? And I look at Lubna. She's the same. She's very anglicised, very intelligent, very articulate, and she's going through she's just put a video up yesterday, I think, about death threats that she's getting from extremists. But are they actually is it actually the extremists? I mean, this is the problem. As you know as well as I do, there's a mosque about 10 miles from me down that way, right?
Okay.
And it's a Deobandi mosque, right? Now, people in Northern Ireland do not like, and I don't mean this in a patronising way again to the people in Northern Ireland, but I grew up with Islam as a kid in Middlesbrough. I've studied it a lot. I'm not an expert. I'm not going to be one of these people who pretends to be an expert when I'm not. But I've got a good working understanding of some of extremist denominations, and the Deobandi are one of the most extreme denominations in the world. Yeah. Right. The madrasas that were pumping out foot soldiers for the Taliban were Deobandi madrasas in Pakistan and Afghanistan. Right. Yeah. So Deobandism is an extreme sect of Islam, and we've got a Deobandi mosque like 10 miles that way in Northern Ireland.
It's crazy how these people are allowed to operate. But I think that Richard, that I actually went to Islamic school, and I think as much as that was a very traumatizing time for me, only because when I went to that mosque, that is where I got sexually harassed for 4 years of my life, from the age of 11 till the age of 16. Even though I know that was the most horrible time of my life, I think it was really, really good that I went there, because if I didn't go there, this was the side of that of these Islamic madrasas, Islamic schools, I would have never known, because I never been there. And anything that I have spoken about, that I'm speaking about today, they are not only facts, they are my lived experiences.
Exactly.
And you know what, when I see these Muslims coming after me, trying to attack me, trying to threaten me, trying to say to me, "Oh, you're a coconut, you're Uncle Tom, you're a white man's bootlegger," and all these things, like I literally look at them and I say to them, "Where is it that did you grow up?" And they're like, "Oh, we grew up in the UK." And I was like, if you grew up in the UK and you don't think you're privileged, then, I think you really need to pack up and go to these countries that you so support while being in the UK. Never been to those countries, because I can tell you, living in Saudi Arabia, these people from Afghanistan, Syria, Libya, Palestine, these people are not allowed. And I don't know if you know this or not, Richard. It was the Palestinians who got the downfall of Lebanon, because Lebanese were the people who said to Palestine, "Oh, you need a home, please come to our house." Absolutely. And what they did, they got along with Saddam Hussein, and they were like, "You know what, come and take over." And that was it. That was the downfall of Lebanon. And then they want us to say, "Oh yes, please bring the Palestinians." There's a reason why Egypt won't take. Egypt is right next to them, right? Jordan is right next to them, and they're like, "You know what, we don't want these people."
Nope.
Go there. And
Jordan, because Jordan, if masses of extremists from the Gaza Strip or the West Bank went into Jordan, it would totally destabilize Jordan. And Jordan had a civil war. People don't realize Jordan had a civil war in the early 1970s, and it was the PLO fighting against the Jordanian, the Hashemite Empire, the Hashemite Kingdom in Jordan, right? And it was a mess. And Lebanon was exactly the same. And the only way, people talk about like the UAE and the Emirate states and Saudi basically coming into. Now, I am not as enthusiastic about changes in those countries as maybe other people are. I'll tell you why. Because they're doing it through suppression. A lot of the people are still very traditional Muslims in those countries, and they are only holding them together because they have a massive security apparatus, and they're basically, anything extremist pops up, they're going to whack it and you're going to prison, right? Now, there's no mechanism for doing that in the UK. So if you look at the stats, and I'm not teaching you to suck eggs, Shoaib, but just for people watching, in the UK, 42% of mosques are Deobandi. 42% are Deobandi. 8% are Salafi. I think it's 1 to 2% are Maududi inspired, which is Maududi was an Islamist. What's the word I'm looking for? Intellectual. He was the brains of it was a Pakistani man. He got awards from the Saudi government for being a good Islamist. And then you've got the Islamic movement as well. So you've got well over 50%, probably 52% of mosques in the UK are extremists, with the vast majority of those extremist mosques being Deobandi. Nobody's talking about that. The BBC did a fantastic, the BBC from time to time do some fantastic work, and then the powers that be in the BBC find out about it and delete it. There was, if you can get it on YouTube, there is a documentary. I think it's called "Meet the Deobandis," and it goes into what Deobandism is, where it came from, why it's anti-Western, etc., etc. Okay, but people are just not aware of what's going on right here in our country right now. And
I think the worst thing with this is, Richard. See, I know I hear this every time. Like people are talking about these immigrants, and I'm not talking about the white people right now. I'm talking about within the community, within the Muslim community.
Yeah,
and they're always like, obviously, like, for me, I know, I'm sure you know this, and for people who don't know, I will tell you where my stance, and it's very, very clear. When it comes to illegal migration, when it comes to fake asylum seekers, for me, asylum seekers are only two people, are women and children, and that's it. If you're a man, I don't care. You cannot tell me, you have to come through a dinghy so you can get here because you're asylum seeker. No. For that, you have to go through an embassy, and then they will judge if you should be going to their country or not. And if they say no, it's a no. Simple as that. Yes, I get women and children, yes. But when it comes to migration, I'll talk about illegal first. Illegal immigration, the moment these guys get here, which is illegally, when you come in on a dinghy, it is illegally, you're a criminal. So the first thing they need to do not put them in the UK. Do not put them, we're going to give you a tent, or we're going to give you a hotel so we can run your case and this and that, because we are paying for it. It is our taxpayers' money. No, it should be, get back on your dinghy, go to the last point of port that you had, whichever that was, which for us, we know it is Calais, it is France. Go back there, right? Either stay there or go somewhere else, because we are full, you're not coming in. And I will also talk about legal migration, the people who come in legally, like I've come in here. And I have this conversation with literally almost every legal. Now I'm talking about doctors, I'm talking about teachers, I'm talking about engineers, accountant, finance manager, head of finance, and all I talk to them because they are from my community. And I specifically am talking about Pakistanis right now. So what I have seen with them, when I sit with them, and look, I came to the UK. I have my education from the UK, so I did my GCSE, and I came to the UK. I did my A levels from here, then I did my bachelor's there, and I did even my master's there. So in a way, I did grew up here. Yes, I went back to Saudi Arabia. I didn't overstay, never overstayed. I always went back to Saudi Arabia because that's where I lived. But unfortunately, now there are doctors coming here. Now you've got engineers, finance manager coming here who have never been to the UK before, who have no idea what is the UK is about. They don't know the culture. They don't care about the culture, basically.
Yeah.
They don't know the British values. They have no idea about the British history. And they literally don't know, other than the fact that why they come into the UK is because of the money, and that's it. So when I'm sitting with these guys, only thing that I hear, oh, once we get our passport, we're going to leave because, oh, we are a Pakistani passport. And I literally sit there and say to them that why is it that you guys, calling so-called doctors and everything, you come to the UK and you want to try, oh, the UK needed us, oh, the UK. You have come to the UK, you still got your Pakistani friends, you don't want to integrate because you always tell each other, only live in the areas where all Pakistanis are here. I walk into these people's houses and it feels like I've stepped into mini Pakistan. And I tell them, you do this, you isolate yourself, right? You isolate yourself from the other communities, from the white people, from the black people, from the British or anything else. You live within your community, and when you go out, let's say for shopping, you go to Tesco, and you don't have the manners of being in the UK, and you act and behave like you're still in Pakistan, and then somebody look at you funny, you're like, oh my God, racist. You know what? I tell them, if I see you as a Pakistani immigrant in the UK, right? As a nobody in the UK, if I see you, I'll tell you to go back to Pakistan because you literally do not belong here. And when people say, what do you think about migration? This is exactly what I think. There are people coming here legally. They cannot go and abide by the rules. They cannot accept the British values, and they want to pray in the middle of the road. Oh my God, it's my prayer. Get out. Go to the Muslim country. Why
you know what? I mean, I was doing a bit of research on this yesterday and looking, and I went through it a little bit last night with Ricky Doolan, and hope I'm getting the figures right. Okay, so let's say that there's meant to be there's believed to be 1.2 million illegal migrants in the UK, right? Now, if we deported all of those illegal migrants, it'd probably take about 10 years to get them all out, right? Which sounds crazy, but it probably would. It's going to be a massive, massive sort of military style operation to get them all out. If it takes 10 years, that would cost £68 billion to send them from whence they came. And I think that's giving them like a £3,000 little bonus to just clear off and not come back sort of thing, right? So £68 billion over 10 years. If they stay here, they're not going to get deported. They will get, it's not naturalized, but it's basically after 5 years, they get a right to remain, right? So they get a right to remain after 5 years. A lot of them are going to be rushed through the system, and I believe illegally are going to be given asylum claims are going to be granted because we've got these great asylum lawyers that we're paying for. I mean, the disgusting thing in all this is like, and this is the total difference between you, Shoaib. You come here legally. You did everything right. You paid to come here. You didn't pay some scummy terrorist people smuggler. You paid the British government to come to this country. Yeah. Now, I'm getting very militant about this, and I think I would have completely zero tolerance. Anybody that comes to the country illegally cannot claim asylum. End of. If you come to the UK illegally, you don't get to play the asylum card. You're illegal. You've broken the law. You are going to be deported. So 69 billion to get rid of the 1.2 million illegals that are here. I think there's more than that, but that's by the by.
That's on the books.
Exactly. That's what they kind of think. Well, they can't because they're illegal, so they can't even guess. I mean, that's just a rough guesstimate. It could be a lot more. But so you get rid of them, and people say that's a lot of money, £69 billion to get rid of like 1.2 million people. Okay, well, what does it cost to have them here for 40 years and dying in the country? You know, basically, you know. And this is not even counting the way they probably try and bring the families in. It would cost 600 billion to keep them here for 40 years. Think about that. 600 billion over 40 years. And the majority of these people will not be net contributors. So they will be taking from the system, especially if they get asylum where they're guaranteed an income, they're guaranteed can you imagine if all these people, and this is what infuriates me. So Yvette Cooper was on TV today, Shoaib, right? And she's saying, we're gonna close the asylum hotels. My local MP said it to me. We're gonna close the asylum hotels. And I'm saying, you want me to celebrate that?
Yeah.
I'd celebrate if you said we're closing the asylum hotels and sending the people living in them back to where they came from.
Exactly.
Now, that would be something I would celebrate. But no. They're doing what the government always does. They're trying to gaslight the British people. And this is where I'm worried, because when all of a sudden all these hotels close, well, where are the protests going to go? Where do we protest?
You know what they're doing now? So like you just said, sorry, because you just said that, they are closing the they are closing the hotels now, and they're saying that we're taking them out hotels because they're giving them houses now. That's exactly what's going on. They're giving them houses.
Yeah.
And you know what, Richard, I actually know a few people who have sent me videos, who have sent me pictures of when they are having these illegal immigrants, these criminals staying literally 2 houses down the road, and it's all men. It's all men. There is no family, there is no woman. And these men who look well above 20 or 30 years old, they're claiming to be 14, 15. And the funny thing is, the UK government is like, yeah, because you say you're 15, you got no papers, we will believe you. It doesn't matter. You look like a 40-year-old man, and they're like claiming to be 14, 15, and they are literally getting it granted. And you know what, Richard, you're talking about, and this is the funny thing. I don't know if you know this, right? I know this personally because, like I said, look, this is my community. I hear things that you probably will never hear in your lifetime. So what it is now happening, that these people who are coming in as doctors, engineers, finance managers, the moment they arrive to the UK, right, they come up with a problem that they have back home, whatever that is, make it up, go to one of your asylum seeking lawyers, pay them a good money, because these are lawyers, these are your doctors. They are earning 70, 80K per annum. And the first thing they will do, we want to claim asylum. What for? This is, the lawyer writes it down all for them. Within a week, 2 weeks, they're like, oh, they're well-educated people, they came here legally, and now they want to claim asylum because of this reason. And you know what happened? They get asylum as well. So you need to know, it is not only that. And what will happen with these people now, the reason why everybody is so obsessed with claiming asylum, and I will tell you why, because it's recently, I'm sure you know that I'm recently applying for my visa extension.
Yeah.
It used to be £4,800 every 2 years, which I'll break it down for you now. But I have paid now around £7,000, right? For being legally in the country. So to be legally in the country. So this is the home. So the Home Office fees is around £2,500. Then you have to pay a surcharge of NHS, which I have never used in my 10 years of life. I've got a pain in my teeth as we speak right now, and I can't get an appointment. I did it last time. I had to remove this. It cost me £2,000, and I was very lucky. I had a job at that time, so I could afford it. And then the contribution towards the NHS is £3,000. So I wrote a letter to the Home Office, and I said to them, "Look, I've been here for almost 10 years. I have never ever used the NHS because we never needed to, because everything is like, oh, have ibuprofen, Calpol, just have this and you'll be fine. So I can do that myself. I don't need to go to a GP to do that." So when I send them this email, and I was hoping they'll give me a discount or something, and say, yeah, you haven't used this, maybe pay less. They were like, no, you either pay that, otherwise, we can't help you. And I was like, really? They were like, yeah, that's it. So you know what? When people say, oh, the white people, let me take it from this side now. Yeah. When the people are saying that, oh, the white people are racist, the so-called far-right thugs, the they lot and all that are racist. Let me tell you, I'm probably bigger racist than you are, because I come here legally and I'm watching these illegal criminals coming in, getting free hotels, free this, free that, free that. I see them in my gym wearing more better clothes than me, and I've been working for the last 10 years.
Absolutely. And a lot of them are working in the black economy, so they're not paying tax. They're getting tax money. They're getting money from the taxpayer. They're getting clothes from the taxpayer. The NGOs are helping them. They're getting the best legal advice. And when they get asylum, and I'm not saying if, because this wicked, evil, and listen, I'll be honest with you, right? I don't see any difference between Labour and Conservatives. And when I'm talking about this wicked, evil government, I'm talking about the Uni Party. Listen, this internet harms nonsense that's going on, that Tommy's just been charged under. Guess who dreamt it up? Sajid Javid, the Conservative Home Secretary, right? He was the man behind it, and he had Hope Not Hate advising him in the meantime, right? Or the Home Office had Hope Not Hate advising him, as they have done for years. So these are massive problems. I'm going to go back to the Islamophobia thing here. Just to so this is the all-party parliamentary group on British Muslims, right? Okay, so there is such a thing, right? The all-party parliamentary group on British Muslims, and their definition of Islamophobia is as followed: Islamophobia is rooted in racism and is a type of racism that targets. Now, this is Orwellian. This is like totally Orwellian. It's rooted in racism. It's a type of racism that targets expressions of Muslimness or perceived Muslimness. Now, let's just unpack that a little bit, right? I'm gonna put this in the comments, right, so everybody can see it, right? And that is what Dominic Grieve, I think, what was he? He was something. I mean, he's a barrister. He was something in the Tory government. He was something high up. I can't remember what he was, but basically, vile man, vile, treacherous man, Ramona to the core. One of those people in the Conservative Party that means that the Conservative Party will never get elected to power in this country. By the way, another one, Kemi Badenoch, the great Kemi Badenoch, went on TV today and said she lost her faith because she saw what Joseph Fritzl did to his daughters in Austria. I mean, I'm like, what? Like, don't just if you're going to make an excuse for not being a Christian anymore, don't use Joseph Fritzl as your excuse for not being a Christian. It's lame. And that's the woman that wants to be Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. She's got the intellect of a banana. Get out of here. It's nonsense. Anyway, so it's rooted in racism. And let's just put it on the screen. Rooted in racism and is a type of racism that targets expressions of Muslimness or perceived Muslimness. Now, tell me if I'm wrong on this, Shoaib, right? As far as I know, Islam is not a race. Because like there's the famous Ginger Jihadi that used to run around Speaker's Corner. There was the guy with the big strapping lad that used to go to Speaker's Corner as well, that now is no longer a Muslim. Hallelujah. He's now I think he's an atheist, but he's on the road to get to Christianity because he's hearing Bob every week preaching at him. So it's not a race. So how can it be rooted in racism?
You know what? It's crazy, Richard. You know, when we are seeing these Islamophobia being discussed in the British Parliament, the UK Parliament of the UK, right? Which is for me, like I said, look, I am not even from the country. I call myself an immigrant until the day I die. I'll call myself an immigrant. I do not have a problem with anybody saying, "Hey, you're an immigrant." I'll say yes because I live in Saudi Arabia for 30 years. My dad is still in Saudi Arabia and he lives there as a foreigner, as an immigrant. He's been there for almost 55 years. For us, these things doesn't matter. It's for people who got no character, like, you know, they got no personality. They have to base their whole person, like, you know, the lefties, their whole personality is free. You know, talking about the Palestine problem and this and that. But for me, that is not a problem. So when I say that I'm hearing Islam terms like Islamophobia, terms like racism in the UK, in the British Parliament, which I always said is a Christian country and should always and will always be a Christian country, and I'm literally behind it. And I saw your live yesterday with Ricky, and he was absolutely right. He said, "Look, this is a Christian country. Doesn't mean you have to be a Christian. As long as you abide by the rules, that does not mean like an Islamist, they're going to grab you and tell you need to come and pray. If you don't pray, we're going to kill you," because that's exactly what it is.
I mean, there was somebody put in the comments earlier on, is Shoaib still a Muslim? and here's the thing about that, right? Let me just make this very clear. And again, the person said it was a genuine good person that said it. You know, I've seen the person in the comments before, but Shoaib can't. If whatever Shoaib is between him and God, right? Him and God. But it's not simple. When you're a Muslim, if you suddenly say I'm not a Muslim, you're saying come and shoot me in the head. Simple as
they've
that.
already done that to me. You know that. I'm sure you know that they have already put it out there that if you go and get rid of Shoaib, which means, you know, if they were to do something to me, for them it's heaven and 72 virgins, and these losers who can't.
You basically
I've already been targeted, and the police know the police won't do anything because they're like, "Oh, we don't think this is the way it works." And I was like, "Yeah, that's absolutely fine then. If you don't think it, that's fine." But you know, my whole point with Islamophobia is, if they're talking about Islamophobia in a Christian country, tell me this, right? Every single time I've been in London, I go to Piccadilly Circus or I go to Central London, I come out of the tube station, all I'm hearing is Quran, and all I'm hearing is big, loud recitation. I'm going there for shopping, Richard. right?
I
I
know.
don't care what religion I am, man. Just leave me the hell alone. Let me go and buy some clothes with my family, which you know, a lot of us don't go shopping. And if we go shopping, we go once every 3, 4, 5 months. You think I want to be addressed by these things, telling me, oh, do this and do that. And the worst thing about this is, while we are talking about Islamophobia, Richard, let's not forget that these people in a Christian country, these Muslims, these Islamists in a Christian country, come to you and ask you, are you a Christian? And you say, yes, I'm a Christian. And they will say to you, you know what, Richard, your religion is wrong. Oh, so there is no Christianophobia, right?
Well,
Islamophobia,
listen,
turn around and say to them,
the Quran says my
no,
religion.
I know, but if you say that, so you didn't start a conversation, you're just doing your shopping. A Muslim comes up to you and tell you, Richard, you're a Christian, and guess what? Your faith is wrong because of Jesus' days, because of God that. And then you turn around, you say, no, according to my book, which is Christianity, which is my Bible, according to that, your Quran is wrong. And guess what? You're getting locked up for 2 years. And we have seen that. You know, people say, oh, you guys are just making it up. Let me give you an example where the guy who burned the Quran outside the Turkish embassy, who was attacked then by the Turkish guy from the Turkish embassy with a knife, who got hurt on his thing. And guess what? The guy who got attacked was arrested, was gone to jail. The one who attacked with a knife in his hand, they were like, you know what, sir, you go home. We'll let you know when we are free. We come and speak to you. Because we do not think a lunatic with a knife running around outside saying, I'm going to harm you because you have hurt my feelings, right? Oh, you are fine, sir. You stay at home. Keep your knife with you just in case you feel like attacking someone else. While we deal with this guy who was very, very harmless, just trying to burn a book. Like I said, look, I would never burn any book, not a religious texture, not even a studies book like a maths or a biology. I wouldn't do that because that is not my moral values. Mine are different. But if I see somebody buying a Quran from his own money and they want to do it, do you think I'm going to go and tell him, oh, why this? I'll be like, you know what? Do whatever. It's your freedom of expression. Because I know there are Muslims who burn the Bibles as well. So if you want to go down that road, let it go. But, you know, like I said, look, for me, it's never, ever the same as what other people are doing. My way of dealing with things are totally different to what somebody else do. I'm sure you're the same. Because we come from a place where we have a lot of high standards. And for us, it's more debate, communication, respectful disagreements. That's
Alex,
what we do.
No. We're not removing all religions. That's the problem. Alex, this is the problem. What's happened when we removed when we removed Christianity, when we had that nutcase little biologist and Hitchens, and Hitchens knows better, unfortunately. I mean, he's stood before his maker. We don't remove all religion. All religions are not the same, Alex, right? And I tell you what, we tried removing all the religions, and it ended in 2 world wars and 100 million people dead. It ended in Pol Pot, Chairman Mao, Joseph Stalin, and Adolf Hitler. So no, removing all religions is not the answer. The UK has prospered more when it's been and I'm going to say this, a Protestant evangelical country. That is when we abolished slavery. That is when we had an empire that spread democracy and the legal code across the globe and Christianity. So no, Alex, we don't get rid of all religions. What we do is we double down on Christianity. If people want to come to this country, yes, they can practice their religion, but if in practicing their religion, they're going to incite violence against members of their religion that leave, they're going to persecute their own women, they're going to beat their own women, they're going to rape our daughters, they're going to plan terrorist attacks, then yes, you deal with that religion. You don't just remove all religions, Alex, because that's not going to work. Anyway, rant over. Thanks for your comment. I do appreciate your comment.
No, I think you're right, Richard. You know, I do agree with it because, like I said, you know, Saudi Arabia, like I said, a lot of the things that I speak about is my experience, and the experience that I had in Saudi Arabia. I used to have a lot of friends who were not Muslims. They were Christians. They were atheists. Obviously, a lot of them were hidden. But the thing with that was, like you just said, in Saudi Arabia, and I think this is something that we should bring in the UK as well, because when you say that that UK is a Christian country, that means, yes, you can have your faith, you can have your religion. But the only thing that you cannot do is go against our Christianity, because that will be the law of the country. It doesn't mean you have to be a Christian. The same way when my Christian friends who lived in the Saudi Arabia, they were told, if you want to have your, if you want to go to your church, you make a church within your community. That there were churches within the community. It was like a room, and they will go on a Sunday and they will do their prayers and do everything. But at the same time, they wouldn't do what the Muslims are doing in the UK, like just, bringing out the prayer mat in the middle of the road and, hey, it's my time, I'm going to pray. You were not allowed to do that. So when I say it's a Christian country, the UK this is exactly what I mean. You can be a Muslim, you can be an atheist, but guess what? You are not gonna do that in the middle of the road. You will do that in the comfort of your own home. And I think again there are a lot of mosques. If you ask me, I think for a Christian country there are too many mosques in the UK. And the reason why I say this as well is because it's the reason why I say that there are too many mosques is because a lot of the attacks that we have seen, and a lot of the things that come, it is coming out of the mosque. And when you go and talk to MI5 or you talk to these secret services, they said, oh, we knew about it, but we wasn't sure out of them many mosques which one is the evidence. So yes, you narrow it down. You in one city you should have one mosque, and that is because people will travel. So when you have Richard, when you have people,
the extremist mosques, Deobandi, Salafi,
they shouldn't be allowed in this country.
Ban them.
No.
And you don't do that with churches. And I'll tell you why I don't do it with churches, because if you have a church that really follows the Bible to the letter, well, it's going to be filled with the most loving, kind, generous people that you'll ever come across in your life. Because that's what, and again, I don't count myself anywhere near what I should be as a Christian, but genuine Christians are the most gentle, kind, loving, and wonderful people, the ones that are the real deal. And the UK would be a far better place if we had a Christian revival. And my prayer, Shoaib, and I'll be honest with you, and it's we've spoken about this before, my prayer is that the Muslims all come to faith in Christ, because actually that solves the problem of sectarianism and extremism. Because if they all become Christians, I mean, my thing is, some of these Salafi guys that are really extreme, if they became Christians and really got the Bible in the same way they devour the Quran and the Hadith or whatever it is they do, basically, if they put that effort in Christianity, they'd be the most amazing people and do a massive amount of good for the country. So my prayer is that all the mosques become churches, not by force, but by God opening the eyes of the people in those institutions and saying, look, this is, and God can do that. I believe God can do that. But in the meantime, what we need is to put political systems in place that can stop this extremism that we know is going on in this radicalization and this nonsense definition of Islamophobia. I'll just read it again so everyone remembers it. Islamophobia is rooted in racism and is a type of racism that targets expressions of Muslimness or perceived Muslimness. Now, there's a little group set up that's studying this, and they look for, and I've looked at the way it's set up. It's stacked against anybody having a negative view of what they're looking for. So we're in a big problem. I'm going to talk about this very quickly for the Equalizer. What's my stance on women in the military? And I'll ask you about this one as well, Shoaib. So my stance on women in the military, if you look at Israel, for example, right? In Israel, you see loads of women walking down with hair right the way down the back, and an M16 or a Colt commando rifle or whatever it is they call them these days. Basically, a really high-powered assault rifle strapped over the back, and I think they look really cool. I'll be honest with you. And but are they any good in battle? Well, yes, apparently they are, because some of these women are tank commanders, because women tend to be smaller, so they make really good tank crews, and they're going in there and they're sorting out and dealing with the terrorists like nobody's business. So this is where the problem, I think, comes. Women would probably not be good in special forces units that are storming, that are going into houses and storming houses, because they're not physically strong enough, they're not physically robust enough. But women can be very good in intelligence roles. Women can be very good working undercover. So women can, fulfill those roles, like I say, tank crews, pilots, because they're very well coordinated, and so on and so forth. So I think there are roles women can do in the military. I think where the problem comes, if you're in a long-term, somebody just put, Richard, you need to remember how fierce women can be. Listen, Kelly, I'm being very diplomatic when I'm saying this, okay? So don't give me a hard time. Yes, women can be extremely fierce, and again, when you look at a lot of these protests that are going on in England, women are at the forefront of these protests. But I think when it comes to actually things like close quarter combat and up close and personal with the enemy, it's not good to have women there for a couple of reasons, right? One, if a woman is in that sort of situation and a man sees her in danger, he's probably going to put himself in danger just because that's a male instinct to protect women, right? So he's going to put himself in danger to protect that woman. Also, women just aren't physically as strong as men. It's just a biological fact. As much as the feminist movement would like to say we're all the same, we're not the same. So in a country like Israel, where they're in a constant state of war, yes, I think it is absolutely right that women serve in the military and that they serve on the front lines. They get massive respect for that. Do I believe they should be in frontline infantry units? Absolutely not. Can they do other roles like intelligence gathering, tank crews, fly aircraft, 100 medics, administrate? Yes, of course they can. They can do all that sort of stuff. So I hope that answers the question. I'm not kind of legalistic on saying they shouldn't be in the military at all, but they should have specific roles that they are better suited for the men. You couldn't put me in a tank. One, I'm claustrophobic, and two, I'm too big. I'm too fat. I'd never get out again.
Well.
You know.
I'm claustrophobic as well. I don't think I can fit in a tank. No chance.
Oh, I mean, but you know what? I never used to be. Sure, but like I used when I was in the military, I was in sort of armored cars and all that sort of stuff, and you know, and I was fine. There was no problem. But like, see now, no, you don't want to put me in a confined space. Not at all. But yeah, so
I've got the same problem. I'm claustrophobic. When I was getting arrested by the police, right? I remember they took, and like I said, I've never been arrested in my life before, and I didn't understand what is going to happen. So they walked me to the van, and I was trying to get into the van, not in the back. So they were like, no, you need to go in the back. So I walked with them in the back. When they opened it, I seen it was a small place, and I said to them, look, I'm claustrophobic. I'm not going to go. He literally grabbed me and he put me in, and he put a camera there. And not only that, then they took the longest route, knowing that I've just told them I'm claustrophobic, and just to mess about, they took the longest route. To see, if I was a criminal, I understand. But even they know I'm not a criminal. And for them to do this, I was like, wow, that is amazing. Like, these guys don't care. And then they're like, oh, you know what? How is it and why is it that, people hate the police so much? And, I've always been pro-police, because I've seen the police that I've seen is the Pakistani police, and I think nobody likes them. And when you compare the Pakistani police to the British police, obviously there was a very huge difference. But now, unfortunately, I don't think I'm pro-police anymore. I feel like
sad, isn't it? It's sad.
Yeah, they have broken. They've broken my heart. The thing, the thing that they have done is just crazy. The way they've treated me and other citizens.
It's dreadful. And I mean, the reality is, you come to the stage where we've made excuses for the police for too long. And look,
I can't do that.
Some of the police that we deal with on the demos, they're kind of okay, right? They're all right. They're decent enough fellas. But the truth of the matter is that if I was a police officer and somebody said, right, we brought Tommy Robinson in, and we're not going to charge him with self-defense, because you can't charge someone with self-defense. But do you know what? We've got other charges we're going to stick on him. Yeah. If I was a copper and somebody said that to me, I'd say, there's my badge. I'm done. The ridiculous things that Tommy's been charged with. I don't know if you've seen this. He's charged with saying F Islam, F Hamas, F the protests, I think it was. F Palestine, and then something, something else, right? So he was charged with that. And I think everybody yesterday on Twitter retweeted exactly the same tweet. I mean,
but you need to think, Richard.
You've got to share the risk.
Yeah, if he's saying all these things and he's about to get charged for these things, what about these people that come out every single day and they talk about, when they look at people like you, and now people like me as well, they're calling us Nazis, they're calling us child murderers. Like, why is it the police not getting equally angry or upset about what they are saying to us? And it has been happening in front of the police. And I think this is a very dangerous situation. And Richard, when you say this, somebody recently spoke to me, and I was talking about the police and everything, and I was telling them how upset I've gotten that I was making excuses my whole time that I've been in the UK for the police, about the police, and saying, no, they're just following order. But, me working in the Swansea Council and then getting fired, there is one thing that I realized. Yes, the police officers are following order, but at the same time, you just said that if somebody said this to me, you'll be like, no, that is absurd. I'm not going to do that, because that is not the law. You cannot create a law just because you don't like somebody or somebody's telling you.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean, do you know what? The internet harms legislation, we should call it Tommy's Law. That's what we should call the internet harms legislation. Because I'm going to tell you now, Hope Not Hate definitely had a hand in framing that legislation, right? I need to go and get all the information up, but they definitely had. They had, when there was a consultation, Hope Not Hate gave a lot of information on that consultation over that legislation. And the truth of the matter is, they had Tommy Robinson in mind when they were framing that.
Yeah.
And we're all going to be Tommy. We're all going to get pulled in for this, every single one of us, because at the end of the day, every single day, because it is my religious belief. Almost every day on Twitter, I'll do something of Islam. There'll be some sort of jihadist thing going on, and I'll just put Islam is Antichrist. You know, that's why they do what they do, something like that, right? I'll do that every day. I'm almost every day on Twitter. Now, that's you're not offended by that, Shoaib, right? Because you believe in freedom, right? You believe in freedom, 100%. Right? But let's get it right. The jihadists and the extremists don't believe in freedom. They want to basically squash freedom, not have any debate, not have any discussion. Because what should happen is when I say that, if somebody doesn't like it, they should say, well, why are you saying that, Richard? But no, what they want now, they want it closed down. And this is where, when you join the internet harms legislation to that definition of Islamophobia that I've just read, we're in for a world of pain. And we've got to, this is where I think we'll have to have 1 million people on the streets to oppose this absolutely evil legislation. And the thing is, they can't lock everybody up. They don't have the space. They don't have the police officers. So, you know, but they will pick a lot of the people that are very vocal out and make an example of us.
No, because see, tell me, Richard, how many Pakistanis, okay, I'll talk about the immigrants, right? How many immigrants, Pakistani, that you know is doing what I'm doing? I don't know any. I'm talking about the whole UK. Do you know how big the UK is? How many Pakistanis are in the UK born here? But an immigrant, I have seen none. Zero.
I know. And you know, there's a few. I mean, before, like there was. I'm not going to say the names, but there was a couple of guys converted to Christianity. There was one guy. I'll say this guy's name. He's a Bangladeshi guy called Mufassal Islam. He built a network of ex-Muslims, right? And then he was an ex-Muslim himself. Then he reverted again and went back to Islam again. And he'd the names. Talk about he'd all the names of all the guys who were ex-Muslims. Thousands of Bangladeshis up and down the country, and they were getting a real, you know, man, you know. So again, the danger, and I remember years ago when we first started doing this, there was she was a Bangladeshi woman in London. I'm not going to say her name again, but she was chatting to us all on Facebook. She came to one of the demos. Really, really, very intelligent, westernized woman, and she got in touch with us on Facebook one day and said, guys, I'm going to have to stop doing this. My brothers are threatening to kill me. We never heard from her again. Never heard from her again. So maybe they did. We don't know.
Yeah, you know? they very well can do that. They can, and they have done it in the UK many times.
They could have took her back to Bangladesh, boom, gone. You know, and or they've done it in Pakistan. They take them to Pakistan, they kill them. You know.
Do you know, Richard, when the Tommy's court case was happening, I think it was in July, 5th of July, I think it was last month. I went there and I was wearing a T-shirt where it says White History Month, and I'm sure you've seen it because I was actually with Urban Scoop at an interview. So that interview was clipped, right? Obviously not clipped as in they changed anything. It wasn't changed. It was me doing my interview. They have taken that interview, they've put it up on Instagram, they put it on TikTok, you know, different thing.
Yeah.
Some of the BBC comedians, like these Asian, Pakistani, Bengalis, these comedians, big names with the blue tick on Instagram, has actually gone to that video and they have commented fully open. So there are more than 3,000 comments on there.
Yeah.
From which 2,900 or majority of the comments are from the Pakistani, from the Muslim, from the Bengalis, and these big names. And they're calling for me to get harmed. They're saying, oh, look at this clown, look at this coconut. Oh, does anybody know where he lives in Swansea? Does anybody? Wow. The thing is, I have been sent this video, and this was, like I said, it was last month, and up until today, every single time I literally go there every day just to see if there's a new comment, and every single time there's a comment talking about, oh, you know what, you need to get rid of this guy. Oh, he's Uncle Tom, he's this. And the police is watching it because I reported to the police, but the police were like, oh, we can't do anything because we don't know who these people are. Yet they are very easy to jump on their cars, come and arrest people at 2 a.m. for something that we have said, or, you know, people like me, people like you, or anybody have said just because they want to defend themselves. And this is what's going on. So see, I have seen the comments, but I am really scared to reply to them. And the only reason why I'm scared to reply to them is because I know for a fact the moment I reply to them, what will happen is they will come and arrest me, because this is exactly why I got arrested last time. So initially, back in October, November, I was getting death threats from the Bengalis and the Pakistanis in Swansea. And you know how small Swansea is. So I went to the police and I showed them. So I was attacked once when I was walking out with my family. And they come like, you know, they come in a group, oh, Palestine, this and that. And they attack me. Good thing is I had my camera here. So you can see that this lady came and attacked me. Because she's a woman, I decided I'm not going to put my hands on her. I literally went back. And I went to the police straight away, showed them the video. The police took literally 15 minutes and they came to me. They gave me a call. They said, yeah, we can't do anything because we don't think that push was hard enough to hurt you. And I was like, assault is assault. You're telling me if I'm gonna slap a lady who's a lot weaker than me just because I did not go like this and I went like that, so that's not an assault. They were like, yeah, you cannot threaten people because these calls are recorded. That's literally they said to me. And literally 2 months later on, they came to arrest me. Why? Because the police failed to do their job. So I started to defend myself. They will say things, I'll say something back. And they got all those screenshots of me replying. And they sat me down for 2-hour interview, 2-hour long interview. And they said to me, why did you say this? Why did you say that? Why are you saying this? Why? And I was like, I'm defending myself. And the worst thing is the police only had that screenshot of what I said. They did not have a screenshot on the top, on the bottom, because they didn't want you to know. If Richard, I come to you and I tell you, you know what, I don't like Tommy because Tommy have said this to me. The first question you would say, why did Tommy say this to you? Because you must have said something. And unless you know the both sides, you can't really judge. But if you're just listening to me, that means you're being biased towards me. You're like, oh, because Shoaib is my friend, I'm just gonna listen to him, and that. But that's not fair on Tommy then. And that's exactly what I do. But the police done it. They arrested me and they said to me, oh, why did you say this? Why did you do that? And I see these Bengalis, these Pakistanis every single time that I'm out. And this is the scary thing for me is, right, I'm the only Pakistani and I am known in Birmingham, in Manchester, in Bristol, I can't go to Cardiff. I can't go to these places that I'm naming because they know me by my face, they know my car, they know everything. And the worst thing is when I go to the dentist, they're Pakistani. If I go to a shop, they are Bengalis. If I go to a corner shop, literally they look at me and they just don't want to serve me. And you know how uncomfortable that is because they know the police is not going to help me. If they decided to do anything, they can just lie because there are 5, 6 of them and I'm by myself. And they can say, oh, he was calling us something and we had to defend ourselves, which is a lie, basically. But, you know.
Yeah. That's why, I mean, you know, we need to be, I mean, I think we need to be really, really careful, you know, with what we're doing. And I mean, when you look at what's just happened to Tommy, it's really, you know, it really is, you know, it's bad news. It's bad news because, and he is going to have, everywhere he goes, he's going to have security, you know, and that's not right. And again, I honestly, I think we're at a stage now where the only solution is mass deportations of extremists. It's as simple as that. And I said, you know, my thoughts on this, you know, you get rid of the illegals first. So everybody that's come here illegal, they're gone. Like, and you go back through the asylum claims and you find out any that seem bogus. And you go, no, your claim has been found out to be bogus. It's revoked, and it would take a long time. And I mean, how do you think, Shoaib? How do you think the Pakistani Muslim and the Bangladeshi community will react if we basically start these mass deportations of predominantly Muslim men who've come here illegally?
Well, they're going to lose their mind because, believe it or not, half of them are their probably family members, their cousins. Because the reason why, you know, when I say this, there are legal people who have come to the country, but you can see from them, they got nothing. They do not, you know, they do not love the UK. They don't want nothing to do with the UK.
I agree.
And the only reason why they're here is because of the benefit system and because of the thing that they can do while not be at work. They can still do cash in hand jobs. A lot of you know, look at the corner shops, right? Look at these fast food chains that is run by these Pakistanis and these Bengalis. Every single person that they have hired are either their cousins, their friends, their uncles, and none of them, literally none of them, are on the books. They're cash in hand because they're family. And this, obviously, they are.
And I mean, the other thing is what we found out when we, and again, you know, I'm sure it's right the way across the country. What we found out when we made the Rape of Britain films in 2020, whenever it was, we found that the houses. This is a house, just a normal family house, right? You go on the electoral roll, right, and there'd be Shoaib Mohammed, then there'd be Mohammed Shoaib Khan, then there'd be Khan Mohammed. I mean, like, they weren't even hiding it. So they would have probably 4 or 5 people on the electoral roll from that house. Right? I don't know how they've done it. And like, it was obviously like massive voter fraud, just absolutely off the scale voter fraud. And I mean, we found it purely and simply because we were using a system. I'm not going to go into it, but we had a system where we could get information on the suspects that we were looking at to make the films. And like I said, this is another documentary in itself. Just in tell the massive
Richard,
voter fraud's obviously going on.
Yeah, no, you're talking about you talking about these kind of scams, right? The kind of scams that I know. Yeah, right. The scams that I've heard about growing up, the kind of scams that I've seen coming to the UK and going out of the UK.
Yeah.
So the biggest scam that I've seen, right, which I don't know if you know this, right, but a lot of people don't know this, but I'll tell you what it is. So what they will do, one of the girls, let's say, because I know this personally, right? I'm not going to take no names because I don't want to get killed just yet. So I'm not going to take no names.
Yeah, we don't want you to get killed either. So just be careful what you say, Shoaib. I don't want to come on the show. I don't want to come on the show next week and say, guys, there was some really bad news. You know that thing Shoaib so well. He didn't make it.
Yeah, no, this is what I'm saying. So it's with what I know. I know this lady, right? This woman. Like I'm not going to go too much into detail.
No.
I'm sure. If she watches, she will know that. But this woman, what she did, she was in not in the UK, never been to the UK, but she was online on Facebook and she met a guy from the UK, and I think it was Bradford or Manchester he lived in. I think it was Manchester. So she started talking to him, and you know how it is. The guys live in the UK, especially if they are not into the girls and everything, and they get a friend request, and all of a sudden, oh my God, girls are messaging me, blah blah blah. So they got into a relationship online, and then she said to him, "Oh, why don't we meet up?" And he was like, "Oh, why don't we come to the UK?" She's like, "Oh, I don't." And this is the thing that she played the game. She's like, "Oh, I don't want to come to the UK because I don't know you. Why don't you come to the country that I am in, and let's meet up and let's see how it goes." They met up, and literally within a couple of days of that guy returning to the UK, it was, "Oh, we getting married," and she did got married. And the moment they got married, she came to the UK, and this is long time ago, right? When he got her to the UK, right, she got pregnant, and literally within 6 months of her being pregnant, she brought out this huge case. Even I was, like I said, she wasn't a friend of mine, but I knew of her. I used to speak to her on and off. So all of a sudden, I'm hearing on Facebook and everywhere, "Oh my God, she was attacked by her husband. This happened, that happened." Her family, the whole family came, from back home. They were all living in the UK. Now, oh my God, we need to be here. We need to respect. We need to what do you say? Save her from this man, this guy. And me being a guy, right? Obviously, Richard, I know, and I think a lot of men are guilty of this. When you hear a problem between a man and a woman, the man especially, I don't care about the woman because I'm a man. According to us men, the first thing we do, we take the side of the woman. Oh my God, if the women have said it, it has to be correct. And I think this is where we are very, very wrong. And I was wrong. I admit that I was wrong because I said it. I said to the guy, "Oh my God, this guy's an idiot." And I went on a rant and I said things to him. It was only and only after 1 year when this woman now given a house because she's anxious. The guy will come and beat her up and this and that, whatever she said, abuse her and everything. And now she's got a kid that she won't let the dad see it because, oh my God, the dad is a horrible man. It was literally straight after 1 year that I spoke to some of the other people within the community. And then they told me this woman now have fakely gotten married to her own brother. And according to the Sharia law, by the way, not according to the UK, according to the Sharia law, which they said, "Oh, why do you not want the Sharia councils in the UK?" And I'll tell you, this is the reason why. And she got married to this so-called guy who was her husband, which was her blood brother. So she got him in the UK, got him the passport. The moment he got the passport, he divorced her. Like I said, they're brother and sister. But this is the level of dishonesty they're willing to take. So I find out, and then I went back to the guy that I called all this and all after 2-3 years, and I spoke to the guy. And believe me, Richard, when I heard that guy's side, I knew he was not lying. I knew that this was all fabricated, made up. So when you say there are Pakistani men coming here, there are Pakistani women coming there as well. So please let's not forget.
Yeah,
and these are the Bengalis as well.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, what they've done in the migrant hotel in the town where I live, because we've got the longest running, protest. Very proud to say the longest running protest in the UK outside a migrant hotel. We've been doing it. It will be 3 years next March, and they've put women in the hotel, thinking that we would stop protesting because they put women in the hotel. They're Muslim women, and we were like, well, we're not protesting particularly against the people in the hotel. We're protesting against the idea of there being a migrant hotel there anyway. So it doesn't matter whether they're men, women, or children. We're still going to protest. So we kept on doing it, and they really don't know what to do with us now. So no doubt they'll probably find some legal ruse to keep us away from the hotel. But the the truth is that I think we've got to really seriously work out how to carry out mass deportations. I think
Can
we've
I
got
tell
to.
you how, Richard? Can I tell you what I think we need to do? Because see, right
Yeah,
now, I don't know if people listen to me now, if they're going to believe me or not. But let me say this. I feel like right now it's all about good versus evil,
yeah,
right? It's all about the truth versus the lies.
yeah.
The mainstream
I
media
agree.
along
Yeah,
with us, the journalists, the thing that we do, and it also is about very much about the system against the people, and that's exactly what's going on.
yes,
And
yes,
when we used to say, and I'm going to say this, when people say, "Oh, they are just doing a job," and I used to believe that until I lost my job
yeah,
at the Swansea Council. And when
yeah,
I lost my job at the Swansea Council, I realized one thing, Richard, and I think you should realize this as well, because when I was sat there losing my job that I work hard for, and I know you know, and a lot of people know or they don't know, a legal immigrant like myself, I pay into the system, I pay my taxes, I pay my national insurance, I pay
yeah,
literally everything. But do I get anything out of it? I don't, because it says on my visa that I'm not entitled to any benefit. And for me, when I apply for the visa, I agree to it. And for me, I don't have a problem because I've always have had really, really good jobs. So, anyways, when I was sat there, when I was losing my job, there were four females there, white women who came to me and they said to me, Shoaib, why are you doing this, right? You're not white. Of course, I'm not white. I'm not
yeah,
Pakistani. They say, you're not white, right? You're not even British. You're not born in. I said, yeah, you're right. Yes, I'm an immigrant. They were like, then why fight a fight which is not your fight? And I was looking at it and I was thinking to myself, she's absolutely right.
yeah,
Why is it that I'm fighting a fight? I'm not British. I'm not from the
yeah.
UK. I can, if I don't get anything here, I can try and do something else. I can do a lot of things. But when they said to me, if you just delete your YouTube, delete your
Mm,
Twitter account, and just say Tommy Robinson is a racist,
yeah.
these white people are far right, then you will get your job back, you get your life back. And I had a
And
very
this,
good
yeah,
life.
this is the thing. It's cynical and it's totally wrong. And
No,
this is
but I said to them, no, Richard, this is what I said to them.
yeah,
I said to them, you are white, right? And these are your people, and you're working for the council, which means you need to protect these people. But for
yeah,
30 years working there, you did not even, you did not even once said, oh, we need to look out for our people. You don't, because you are traitors. And of course, the
yeah,
reason why I'm doing this is not because, oh, why you fighting the fight
yeah,
on white people behalf. White people don't need me. I
yeah,
do this because this is my moral value, or
yeah,
this is
yeah.
my loyalty to the country that has given me everything. And
Let's
that
look
was
at
it.
let's
And I
dive into
and I
this. Let's
went.
dive into this. Let's dive into this comment. Putting Muslim women in a migrant hotel as a human shield is such a cynical, tyrannical move. They know they're in the wrong and losing their grip of power. That's absolutely right. What they did when they put those women in that hotel, they thought that there was going to be a moral outrage, and we would start clutching our pearls and reaching for the smelling salts. But unfortunately, we didn't. We just doubled down and says, no. And we've actually got more people doing the protest outside the hotel now than we had before. And we've got a lot of women coming down and doing the protest as well. Oh, yes. There's another comment. 13th. Let's talk about the 13th
All right.
of
Yeah.
September. That event is going to be lit. I was talking to one of the guys that's working on this with Tommy today, and what they've got planned in terms of the screens. And I don't know how much Tommy's put out, so I don't know how much I'm allowed to say. I can't remember. But anyway, I'm not saying anything. But like, it is going to be spectacular. It's going to be, to be honest with you, I don't
Are you
think.
going to be there, Richard? Are you going to be there? That's
Oh,
my question.
yeah. I'll be there. Yeah,
Yes, that's it.
100%.
You'll see me there. Then.
Yeah. I think the whatchamacallit, the actual way the setup's going to be is going to be absolutely phenomenal. It's just going to be absolutely phenomenal. It's going to be the best one that's ever happened. And I think there'll be, I don't know, I think there'll be 500,000 people there. I think because people are so hacked off. I think because people are so annoyed and so hacked off. Was over watching Danny Sam and just thought, okay, no problem. By the way, I don't think, did you really get a Victoria Cross? I think that's maybe somebody else got a Victoria Cross, But listen, do you know what? This is the great thing. For now, we still have anonymity on the internet. If you want to be anonymous, you can be anonymous, which is wonderful. But the reality is, that's all going with the internet harms legislation, guys. This is very, very serious stuff. So 13th of September, make sure you're there. It's massively important that people turn up. And again, make sure you get to all the other demos that are happening up and down the country. We absolutely need to keep the foot on the gas in Northern Ireland. I'm going to answer this one from Uniting Britain. How's it going in Northern Ireland with all that now? It's it's not kicking off in a violent way anymore, but the protests are ongoing, and people are getting more and more organized and thinking a lot deeper about how to do this properly and obviously legitimately. If you haven't seen it, guys, go onto I spit my teeth out, the Richard Inman channel, or on my Twitter feed. And there's an 1 hour and 7 minute documentary I made. It took me about, I'm not a documentary maker, but it took me about 100 hours to make it.
Wow.
And I think it wasn't bad for a first. I mean, obviously I did the Rape of Britain stuff, but I didn't make the documentaries. I was doing a lot of the interviews and a lot of the background work. But this one, I did everything myself, apart from my friend Clifford. He filmed it. We had the guys from Rebel News doing the drone stuff for us. They came and helped us out as well, because they shared some of their footage that they'd done with us. But we got some amazing footage. We got some amazing interviews. So go onto my Richard Inman page and look for I called it Breaking Ballymena, and it was all about what happened. Yeah. And again, it told the truth. And this is the point, you know. And the reality is, if somebody took exception to what I said and said it wasn't true, then the internet harms legislation are going to try and come down on that sort of footage like a ton of bricks. And the truth about Ballymena was very simple. It wasn't racism. It wasn't xenophobia. It was a reaction of a local community to alleged sexual assaults that had taken place against children. A Roma gypsy mafia that had set up in town and was torturing the community. They were involved. They were actually the reason I call it Breaking Ballymena. They were actually cooking crystal meth in Ballymena. Wow. It was, I was expecting them to be in like a little motel. I was expecting, Walt and what, I can't remember what his sidekick was called. Jesse, wasn't it? Was it Jesse? Walt and Jesse?
Yeah, Jesse Pinkman.
Jesse and Walt. Jesse Pinkman. And Walt, what was Walt's surname? I can't remember, but I was expecting, the guy in the wheelchair with the little bell and everything. But that's what they were doing. They were cooking meth in Ballymena. Now, Ballymena's had a drug problem for years, right? But they don't need people coming in and exaggerating. But here's the thing about the show, right? See what they did in Ballymena. And I'm not condoning the violence at all. But the community mobilized and the gangsters were removed from the town, right? Oh. They got put out of the town. There's nobody hurt, no violence against people, individuals. There's damage to property, but none of no Roma mafia members were injured in the making of my documentary, right?
Oh, amazing.
So anyway, they got put out of town. It was, and everybody I spoke to in Ballymena, everybody I spoke to said very, very clearly that they were glad it happened. They were, okay. and of course, on the BBC and on all the independent ITV, Sky News, they were all tearing their hair out. Oh my goodness, these terrible racist loyalists in Northern Ireland. Mm-hmm. Half the people that were rioting were Catholics. So actually, it was the first cross community riot in about 100 years in Northern Ireland. Oh. And it's brought the two communities together. So the moral of the story, which everybody on this channel knows, is do not believe what the mainstream media say. Don't believe your politicians. Yeah. They are all of their father, the father of lies. They're all liars. Okay. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, it's Northern Ireland has settled down, but we're getting into a stage where more people are getting mobilized, more people come out on the streets. And the thing is about Northern Ireland people, they're not going to allow grooming gangs to operate in Northern Ireland.
That's good.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It will not happen. And and that message needs to go out right the way throughout the United Kingdoms. People need to mobilize and take a stand for what's right. And I'm not sitting behind a computer not doing it. I'm mobilized every single week in life. I'm at a demo every single week, and have been for the past I don't know, 8 years or whatever it is.
There's a question that I wanted to ask you, Richard. I know it's an off topic, and I thought I would lighten the mood up a little bit, because I have I don't know if you've seen it, but I went and I wore it was a Welsh kilt with a C, because
Welsh, yeah.
So in Wales, obviously in the Welsh alphabets, they don't have a K, so they say kilt with a C. Obviously, I did not know that when I put out the post. But anyways, I did that video, where I'm walking in. So somebody, of course, I put it out on X, and it was shared many, many times. I got like a lot of likes, a lot of people supported it. I would say majority of the people, they were like, yeah, because I said that's what I'm going to wear on the 13th of September, because that's what I live in Wales. I never said I'm Welsh. I'm not Welsh. but I just want to show my appreciation to the Welsh people, to the white Welsh people, and to the to the good people of the UK as well. But like I said, because I live in Wales, so of course I wanted to wear that. So somebody commented on there, and it wasn't a negative comment, but they were just asking me. They were saying to me that, oh, this Welsh kilt is not really a Welsh kilt; it's a Scottish kilt with a K.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I obviously, for me, whenever I seen somebody dressed the way I was dressed in that video, I thought, yes, it is a Scottish thing. But obviously, now living in Wales, I have realized on St. David's Day, that's exactly how a lot of the Welsh people used to dress as well.
Do you know what? I never knew that, Shoaib, either. I didn't know that there was Welsh kilts. You've actually when I saw that, I thought you were in Scotland. I thought he's found.
A lot of people said that.
He's found there's a McShohab gene in there. I was thinking you were getting it. I was thinking you were channeling. You're in a Mel Gibson. I was thinking it was Braveheart or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now, of course, I suppose yes, because there's Irish kilts. Well, okay, that makes sense. It's a Celtic thing. Obviously, it's a Celtic.
Yeah, it's a Celtic thing.
It's a Celtic thing. And I'm from Liverpool, so what do you call an Irishman that can swim a Scouser? So we're kind of, I mean, look, but this is the thing, and what's happening? Those cultures are getting more and more marginalised, more and more despised. The Irish are taking a stand as well. The Southern Irish, the Northern Irish are taking a stand. The English are taking a stand. I think the Scottish are as well. So people are waking up. Wales seems a bit sleepy because of the Labour.
Oh my God, Wales is very bad, man. And that. I think that's what the whole point was when I was talking to some of these political parties, and I said, I don't mind support. Well, I'll support anybody on the right, to be honest, Richard. Because this is literally our whole aim is to support people on the right. Because believe it or not, I know everybody's coming with their policies and this and that, and there is nothing against anybody. The only thing there is, because I see the end goal, and my end goal is probably the same as yours, and probably the same as anybody else in other parties, but we're doing it in a different way. We are getting there at the end, but we are coming from different routes. So that's the thing, and I think at this point, well, when I put out that video, somebody said to me, oh, you should not be wearing the Welsh kilt because that is not right. But then again, I said to that person, I said, look, when I've got a lot of my family members who are white, who are from the UK, they are white, born and bred, and when they come to Saudi Arabia or they go to Pakistan, I see them dressing up as in Pakistani dress or in Saudi Arabian dress. It's not because they are trying to say, oh, we are Arabs now, we are Pakistanis now, but they are saying, we respect the culture. That's all it is, and that's exactly what I'm doing.
I mean, that's what the most successful sort of empire builders for the British Empire did. They kind of adopted the bits of the local culture that they could adopt. So they dressed in the clothes. I mean, Lawrence of Arabia was a prime example, wasn't he? Running around the desert with the I think it was the Saudis he was running about.
It's the Saudi dress.
So so it has been, it has been done before, and I think that the reality is I don't even have a problem with people's dress code or what they do. It's whether they want to take, if they come here with an intent of taking over the country. Listen, everybody I know loves Indian food. Like every person I know loves Indian food. I love Indian food. I must admit, I try to avoid buying it from a Muslim-owned restaurant now, just because of what I do.
You should come to my home, and my mother is visiting from Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
You can live there for a week, and she will feed you so much that you'll forget all these restaurants all around the UK.
Exactly. Now, some of them are great, though. That's the problem. Some of them are really, really good. But I just so it's not even the food and the culture. It's the fact that people are coming here to try and take over. We shouldn't have Sharia courts should be banned. Halal slaughter should be banned. Extremist mosques should be monitored and closed down. Extremist preachers should be deported. Extremists that are on the terror watch list should be deported. In fact, anybody that goes on those pro-Hamas marches that's not born here should be deported.
Even if they are born here. The thing is, Richard, now, I don't know if you've noticed this now. All these pro-Hamas marches now are run by the white people, the white, woke, liberal lunatics. They've forgotten what the hell they're doing there. And that's what they've done. You talk about the takeover. This is the takeover. This is the brainwashing of the white people.
And with Nick Tenconi on this one, they get deported too. The communists go to North Korea and China. Like if you're, or if you're waving a Palestine flag, okay, you might be white. You might have been, your family might have been here since 1066, but you ain't British anymore. You're on the next flight as well. I'd get rid of them all. The reality is you can't do that. What you've got to do, you've got to start sensibly. But I think if we deported initially all the illegals, all the Islamic extremists, started really cracking down on extremism. Now, I think there'd be a violent response, Shoaib. I think there'll be a violent response. I think that's why it's not done. I think the government's terrified. Whenever those two guys in Manchester Airport attacked the police officers and that ridiculous selective footage went out, there's a guy called Jack Khan. He's been on the scene for a long time. I had a video of him years ago calling for the Pakistani army and ISIS to go into, I think it was to help the Rohingya Muslims, which is up near Bangladesh sort of direction, isn't it? It was Burma. And so the guy, let's just say he held some very, very interesting views. And he said, if you don't let them out, you're not going to believe the protests that we're going to do. It was a direct challenge to the government authority. And what do? They rolled over and let them out on bail. And though I've seen the assaults that took place, to me, those guys should have been remanded. I mean, like that was very, very violent assault on a female police officer who was armed.
And still, they haven't done anything for them, have they?
One's been found guilty, one's waiting sentence. The other one, I'm not sure what's happened with the other one. I'm not sure whether.
Yeah, but it's still there isn't any sentence done because they're still waiting for.
Yeah,
exactly. It hasn't come to a conclusion. If it was like, if it was someone like us, like me in my case, Richard, they arrested me in January. And they were trying to get into my X account since January, and I never given to them. But I went on GB News and I spoke against the council. Within one night, they got access to my X account. They literally said that, oh, you know what? They said to them that we've got access to your X account. We are now going to download everything. And I was like, how the hell this has happened? And it has happened because everybody is within each other, like the police, the justice system, the council, they're all together. And because I spoke against the councillors, they made a fast track for me.
I think I've just got some business for the local Indian takeaway wherever Lily's based. OMG, I'm freaking starving. Cheers for mentioning my favorite food. I must admit, I've kind of made myself a little bit hungry talking about Indian food as well. But
it's almost 12 a.m. That's the only place to be open at this time.
No, there'll be. Listen, when I was in the military, a lot of my mates were from Bradford that I served with, and I went to. There used to be a place. Now I think it's called Lum Lane. It was a bit of a dodgy part of Bradford, to say the least. And there was a curry house in there called the Paradise, right? And it was open all night. And you went in there and you wiped the food off the table with the back of your hand. It was like plastic tables, all bolted to the floor, and plastic chairs all bolted to the floor. You wipe the last customer's food or vomit off the table, and then they brought you the most amazing food. But then again, you probably had about 10 pints of Stella at this stage, but it was just an amazing end to a good night. Yeah, it was the Paradise. Anybody from Bradford, if they remember the Paradise Indian restaurant and takeaway, let me know. Let me know.
No, I think that's what it is, and I think yeah, you're right. You did put up a post from the Viking before, and they are. Viking is right. I owe Viking and Claire a pint. They keep asking me when you're going to meet. I think probably on the 13th, everybody's going to come. But like I said, I don't know how the weather is going to be because I'll be wearing my kilt. I'm just worried that it might be too cold for me. But.
Well, I mean, listen, don't be doing what the Scottish do with their kilts. You need more than your sporran protecting your crown jewels there.
No, it is long enough. I've checked. So.
Jenny's right. Listen, you can't beat a full English breakfast. Listen, I love all food. That's why I'm I've taken 57 years to get to the size I am. It's so all food is fantastic, without a shadow of a doubt. Right, guys. Do you know what? We're going to call that a day there.
Yeah,
Joab, that was great.
Thank you.
And thanks for coming on.
No problem at all.
And we'll do it again. We'll get another update from you soon. And
I think I'll just quickly before we go, can I just tell everybody that I am literally now I'm just waiting to get my fingerprints and my picture taken done with the Home Office. And obviously, once that is done, hopefully by the first week of September or mid-September somewhere, they will let me know what is going on with my visa. Because, like I said, I don't know if you know this, Richard. Claire and Viking, they have helped me so much with this whole process of my visa and helping me out. They have helped me a lot with this. Yeah. So, like I said, and there were a lot of other people as well who helped me. Now I know they're waiting for the final answer. I'm hoping it's going to be positive. But if there is a problem, we will obviously find out, see what happens. But just to let everybody know, it is very hard to get a visa extension while you are in the country legally. But if you are here illegally, you don't even need to speak English. They were literally asking me that, do you have a certificate or something to prove that you can speak English? I was like, I've always held like really high job, but obviously I've got my degrees from the UK. So I sent it to them. And then they said to me, please tell us why we should let you stay in the UK. And I was like, wow, you know why? Because I don't like chicken nuggets, maybe. You know, I love the UK chicken nuggets. I don't like the chicken nuggets
like
abroad. But yeah, no, thank you very
the
much.
chicken nuggets in Saudi Arabia or Pakistan are not the same.
Yeah.
Oh my.
No, I won't. They won't take me to Saudi Arabia. They will put me back to Pakistan because I've got a Pakistani passport.
Oh right.
But because you know what, I've been reported so many times from these Muslims to the Pakistani embassy, to the Home Office, and to the police. Even the Pakistani embassy now are sitting on my passport. They've got my passport and they won't give it back to me. And that is another thing that I'm going through. So it's a lot of things going on.
Could you not check? Could you not claim political asylum?
You know what, I can, but I don't want to because, like I said, if I were to claim asylum, it will be no, I don't. I'm not going to claim asylum. You know, that's against everything that I believe in. So I would rather like stay here and fight because I know, look, I've got everything. I've got every reason to be here. Like I don't think they can.
Of course.
They can just tell me to go, but well, like I said, we'll see.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, guys, listen. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Shoaib, thanks for coming on, and it's good. I mean, listen, let's fingers crossed. Everyone pray for Shoaib. All the Christians pray that Shoaib gets his extension, and there's no messing about with them. Because what worries me is I just know what they're like, and you see, you don't fit what they want in the country. They don't want moderate, westernized, genuine, you know, good people like you. They don't want that, Shoaib, and that's.
Like I've been here 10 years, Richard, and I haven't taken a penny from the benefits.
I know.
And I have actually wrote to the Home Office, and I said to them, "Can you please use this email as a proof that I am saying I don't want nothing to do with the state benefit system?" And they have actually taken that email, and now they're using it against me. But you know, I did what I thought was right, and I will still stand by it. Yeah. 100%.
There you go. Best Pakistani in the land. Well, I mean, Lubna is British Pakistani. She might have something to say about that. Other friends of mine who are Pakistanis might have something to say about that. But it's a pretty close race. It's a pretty close
I'm an
race.
immigrant in Pakistan. Best immigrant in Pakistan.
Here's the thing. I mean, the Pakistanis I've got to know and the Bangladeshis I've got to know in the movement have been absolutely superb, westernized, patriotic, good people. I haven't I think Anissa Hussein, Mo Fayez, great guys. There's a Christian friend of mine who's, you know, again, been through a very, very tough time, but you know, so you know, there's a lot of people from Pakistani backgrounds that are absolutely outstanding people. So it's like we've got to get away from the stereotype that they're all, you know, wearing the pajamas, you know, top lip shaved. You know, a lot of them are. Let's get it right. A lot of them are. There's a lot of them are absolutely. I think
we've got a bigger problem from the people who are actually born in the UK. Like, you know what? I'll tell you this one last thing before we go. I have not, when I walk in Saudi Arabia or Middle East, like Dubai or even Saudi Arabia where I live, I have seen so many liberal Muslims, right? But when I walk in UK, which is supposed to be a free country, you've got the biggest extremist Muslim who are born in the UK. I know you've got a problem from the immigrants and the legal immigrants and asylum seekers, but you've got even a bigger problem from the people who are actually born in this country. How crazy is that? Like, I cannot I cannot understand. I know people who are in their 50s and their 60s whose parents were born in the UK. They were born in the UK. They don't even have one white friend. And obviously you're going to call everybody a racist because you don't want to get along with them. When you have built your little communities where you're like, okay, the dogs are banned, don't please drink here and don't do this. You're literally, that's what you have done. You have made that little bit of thing. Who would want to live there? If I want to drink, or if I have a dog and I want to go out on a walk with the dog, and I know you lunatics are standing there, because it's against our religion, I'm not going to let you do that. Then why should I be okay with what you want to do with your religion? If you want to do that to me, guess what? I'm going to do that to you. But because British people are too polite, they're very much, the tolerance level is too high for the British people, right? They need to go, because right now they have taken advantage of you guys being so nice to them. And that's exactly what they've done. That's literally what they've done now. Exactly.
Right. Well, guys, listen, thanks everyone for coming. Shoaib, stay safe, stay free, keep fighting the good fight, and keep us informed on what happens with the application, because if there's anything we can do, we'll do it. And again, we can get your legal stuff sorted as well. So And again, you know, that's what it's about. It's about looking after each other when our backs are against the wall. And, you know, sadly, there's a lot of people, sadly, that don't do that. That would, when your back's against the wall, they kick you in the you know whats and then punch you in the head rather than help you. You know what I mean? But that's just the way. That's just the way of the world, unfortunately. But we'll keep fighting on. We'll keep doing what we're doing. And guys, again, thanks for tuning in until this time. I'm getting incoherent. I've been going on for so long today. So
yeah, well, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Oh yes, just before we go, are you going to join Advance?
I've already joined Advance.
Have you? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I've already done an interview, and I think, I don't know, you know, but I don't want to say much, but because we're going. But there was a comment that I received from somebody within the UK, because I was part of UKIP. But as I said, I was part of UKIP because I did not know what else to choose. But again, I got nothing against the UKIP guys. You know, they're amazing guys. Doing some amazing work like Nick and Coney and everything. But like I said, you know, for me, I just needed something that that was more relevance to me, like something that I can. And I've met somebody who is Advanced UK Wales. I haven't met anybody from UKIP who were in Wales, and I need local support. After getting arrested, Richard, your whole mindset changed, your whole things around you changed, and the thing around me that changed. When I got arrested, I needed help. You know what the worst thing was? I don't think a lot of people know, but I'll say that this was the thing I wanted to say. That I've got a wife. My wife is white Welsh. She speaks Welsh language. She's from the valleys, and you know we've got a daughter who's a special needs daughter. Is, you know, she's my wife's daughter, but obviously she's my daughter as well now. But we've been together for 6 years. Been married, so you know, just with all these things going on, when I got arrested, when you have a special needs child who doesn't understand from left to right, and these things, you know, it's very hard. And hello, Lubna. I had to say hello, Lubna.
Her ears must have been burnt. Lubna, we were talking about you earlier on, and don't worry, we weren't saying anything bad. But yeah, we were just talking about what you've been through, and you know, just how horrendous it's been. And again, the community of patriots is here to support you. It's as simple as that. And I mean that. And you know, if you call us out on that, you'll find a lot of people will stand up and help you without a shadow of a doubt. So keep doing what you're doing. Again, I'm very aware of a controversial person like me. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to put you in any more danger than you already are. But we support you, Lubna. What you've done is fantastic, and keep doing what you're doing, and don't give up.
I think Lubna is getting more courageous day by day. I see. When I started off seeing her, obviously the threats that she get, like, you know, obviously we are men, Richard. At the end of the day, she's a mother. She is a single woman, and she got a lot of problems going on within the community, and she lives in between everything. So I know she had a bit of an issue, but now if you look at her videos, right? I've seen one of her videos just now before we jumped on the live, and you can tell straight away. Now Lubna has gone from, okay, I'll be nice and polite. Now she's angry, and she's like, you know what, this is it. I'm not going to do it anymore.
That's good. I mean, that's good. And again, just what you got to do, you've got to get out of those areas and get into areas that are predominantly, let's just be brutally honest, predominantly
non-Muslim. Yeah, it's true. I would never ever live in an area where there are Muslim. The area that I live in right now, I've got all white people living around me, and we are supporting each other. And it is and this is what I want to say to the people watching today. If you are doing things online, and if you think there might be a chance that the Muslim will be reporting you, the one thing that you need to do when the police come to arrest you, first of all, you are going to say, I'm not guilty, no comment. And second thing, before you get arrested, make sure that everybody comes out. Everybody shows support that, you know what, you're not arresting him. Don't be rude to the police. You know, you have to stay within the law. You can talk to the police, but you need to see the way the police are behaving. You need to record it. So everybody needs to stand together, and this is it. There is nothing else you can do. The Muslims don't get arrested, and this is the reason why. Because they know if they arrest one Muslim, there are 20 or 30,000 Muslims coming in a thing, and they'll be attacking the police station. They're doing that. We're not going to do that. We are going to be polite. We're going to stay within the law, because that's what we do.
Well, and I don't know if you saw, there was a protest at a police station. I'm not sure where it was. It's somewhere in England. Cardiff. Was it Cardiff? Yeah, there's a protest at a police station. I thought that was great, you know. So don't worry, love. It was nothing bad. It was nothing bad. But you got to be careful hanging about with extremists like me and Shoaib. We'll get you in trouble.
I'm the brown Nazi, apparently, according to these guys.
But good stuff. Lovely. Thanks for popping on as well, guys. I am going to go because I'm absolutely bushed. That was great. Let's do it again soon, and what we'll do is we'll maybe get Paul Thorpe on. Actually, we'll maybe get Lubna on as well, and get Paul Thorpe, and we'll have a chat and just
we should.
really chew the fat about what's happening and how we can fix it. Okay, guys, thanks very much. See you all soon. Join Advance. Be there on the 13th. Sign the pledge and keep supporting Shoaib. See you soon, guys.
Thank you very much. Take care, everybody. Bye.